A hacker just got root access to your entire Kubernetes cluster. No zero-day, no fancy exploit, just one misconfiguration you probably have right now. 67% of Kubernetes clusters had at least one critical misconfiguration exposed to the internet, not a bug. A config error. Attackers love Kubernetes misconfigs because they're easy, fast, and most teams never notice. So we're going into the 3 misconfigs hackers hunt for first, the ones behind real breaches, the ones that hand over full cluster access. And the scary part. Most of these clusters were scanned and compromised in under 4 minutes. Let me show you exactly how. The Kubernetes API server is the brain of your cluster. Every command flows through it. And in some older setups, anonymous authentication is left enabled. That means anyone on the internet can send requests. No username, no password. Oh, that flag right there is the welcome mat. With anonymous auth on, an attacker runs standard kubecle commands from anywhere. List pods, list secrets. In some cases, exec into a live container. The Shadow Server Foundation found over 380,000 Kubernetes API servers publicly reachable in 2023. That's not a small number. Attackers find these with Shodan. A query for port 6443 with Kubernetes headers returns thousands of results in seconds. The fix? One line. Set anonymous auth to false. Then block port 6443 externally with firewall rules or a VPN. No exposure means no attack surface. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Even if your API server is locked down, there's a second attack path that is just as dangerous, and it lives inside your cluster. RBAC controls what every pod and user can do in your cluster. And the #1 mistake is binding cluster admin to a default service account. That single YAML line gives any pod godlike powers. Read every secret, create pods, delete workloads, escalate permissions. Every pod gets a service account token mounted automatically, by default. That token lives at a known path inside every container. If an attacker pops any pod, through a web app bug or supply chain compromise, they grab that token. If it has cluster admin rights, the whole cluster is gone. Microsoft documented exactly this pattern in the Siloscape malware campaign in 2021. A Windows container escape led to cluster admin token theft. The fix has 2 parts. Set auto-mount service account token to false on pods that don't need it, and follow least privilege for every RBAC binding. Wait, it gets worse. This same token theft technique works even without a container escape. Any pod with exec access or a volume mount can read tokens from other pods in the same namespace. Now let's look at the 3rd misconfiguration. This one is the most common. A privileged container runs with full host kernel access. It sees every process, mounts any file system, loads kernel modules. It's root on the physical node. Palo Alto Unit 42 found that 26% of production containers ran privileged in 2024. 1 in 4. Real workloads. Here's the attack. Attacker compromises one privileged pod. They mount the host file system. Write an SSH key to root's authorized keys. They're on the node. Then they steal Kubernetes credentials and pivot to every other node. Full cluster takeover from a single pod. The Docker socket mount is especially dangerous. A container mounting /var/run/docker.sock can spin up new privileged containers without even being privileged itself. It's a full container escape with no kernel exploit required. Just one bad volume mount. 3 tools find these before attackers do. kube-bench runs the full CIS Kubernetes benchmark automatically. It checks anonymous auth, RBAC bindings, pod security, and etcd encryption. Run it right now. Seriously. Falco watches for anomalous behavior at runtime. Token reads, followed by API calls, writes to /, etc. It catches attacks in motion. The Verizon DBIR 2024 found misconfiguration caused 31% of cloud breaches. Not malware, not 0 days. Config errors. These are fixable. Enable pod security admission with the restricted profile. Disable anonymous auth. Set auto mount service account token to false. Scan every manifest before it ships. These aren't hard changes. They're just changes most teams haven't made yet. Use Trivy in your CI pipeline. Every pull request that touches a manifest gets scanned. Privileged containers get blocked before they ever reach production. Shift security left. Don't wait for runtime. Tesla, 2018. Attackers found a Kubernetes dashboard exposed to the internet with zero authentication. They deployed a crypto miner pod. It ran for weeks. Tesla's cloud bills were the first signal. The entry point was one misconfigured dashboard proxy. No CVE required. 2023 Aqua Security's Nautilus team documented Operation RBAC Buster. Attackers scanned for exposed API servers, found clusters with overprivileged RBAC, created new cluster role bindings to persist access, deployed daemon sets to mine on every node, 60+ clusters compromised, same misconfigs, massive scale. The common thread: public exposure plus weak access control equals full cluster compromise. These aren't theory. They're happening right now, on clusters running real workloads, at companies that thought they were secure. The fix isn't expensive. It's just discipline and the right tools. 3 misconfigs: anonymous auth, overprivileged RBAC, privileged containers. Attackers scan for these every single day. Run kube-bench today. Enforce pod security admission. Disable anonymous auth. That alone puts you ahead of most clusters on the internet. Security isn't about being perfect. It's about being harder to attack than the next target. Share this with your team. One of these misconfigs is probably live in your cluster right now. Patch now. Stay secure.